Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. In addition today, as always, we're also on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and City Cable 15 of Southfield, those three stations. On Comcast, Channel 15 and AT&T, Channel 99. You can also find us on Channel 10 in Waterford on the Media Network of Waterford, and live to tape at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television. Find us also on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on 88.1, the BIFA service of the Bloomfield Hills School District, as well as online on Facebook, facebook.com/CivicCenterTV15 and facebook.com/LakesFM. Also find us on our website, CivicCenterTV.com, by clicking on our Watch Live link at the top of the page on your computer browser and some browsers on mobile devices like tablets, but usually for a tablet, for a smartphone, for other mobile devices, it's going to be in the left margin of the screen at CivicCenterTV.com on our mobile website. Click on the drop-down menu, second from the bottom, Watch Live, right there. Or go to mymytv.com to learn more about My Michigan TV, as well as watch us live and on demand on MyMy, and also view their other imported programming and original programming all about the state of Michigan. mymytv.com, or go to our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus/megacast. For more information on each of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets to join us every day, live from 10 to noon, and for replays as well, and find all of our shows on demand. Again, CivicCenterTV.com/megacast. Also on our website is our coronavirus page, as I accidentally teased earlier, CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus, where you'll find information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, so you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about COVID-19. As we continue through this pandemic, the spread of COVID-19 kind of slows down a little bit, but what's to come, we don't know. When it does come up, we'll learn more about it. First, from these three outlets: the CDC at the federal level, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services at the state level, and locally here in Oakland County, where we originate our broadcast from the Oakland County Health Division. CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus for all three of those links, so you can stay up to date on the spread of COVID-19, on vaccinations and booster shots, as well as precautionary tactics that are recommended at all three levels at any given time. CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus. Under those links, as well as links to many of our local municipalities, we scour journalistic outlets from all across the state of Michigan on the daily before our program in order to help keep you up to date on everything making news here in Oakland County and across the state of Michigan, both on the COVID-19 front and more. Let's start off today, our top headline locally here in Oakland County. The cause of the Oakland Hills fire, those at the scene say we may never know. This is from our friends at the Detroit Free Press. It was one of Michigan's largest wooden structures and modeled after George Washington's historic mansion at Mount Vernon. More than 24 hours after Thursday's momentous fire that destroyed the historic Oakland Hills Country Club clubhouse, firefighters were still pouring water Friday afternoon on quote-unquote hot spots, trying to keep piles of century-old timbers from reigniting. They'd spent the entire night on the scene at Maple Road, just east of Telegraph, in the heart of Oakland County's affluence, officials said Friday. At the same time, local firefighting veterans were looking ahead. The Bloomfield Township Fire Department was forming a team of inspectors to include experts from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office and multiple insurers that are said to have provided coverage for the venerable clubhouse. Bloomfield Township Fire Marshal Peter Vlahos predicted that they'd end up conducting, quote, one of the most extensive investigations that I've ever been involved with, in closed quote, in the community of more than 42,000 residents. Yet already both Vlahos and his boss, Fire Chief John Leroy, said they believe that the cause of the blaze may never be known. Like most commercial buildings, the clubhouse was equipped with heat-sensitive ceiling-mounted sprinklers, which when their quote, fusible lining melts, usually at 165 degrees Fahrenheit, in closed quote, begin emitting mist-like spray, usually in a circular pattern, according to Craig Holmes, a retired civil engineer and risk management consultant in Brighton. Still, the clubhouse sprinklers had been unable to quench the fire. The fire's origin and initial spread, quote, may have been in the walls and between the floors, so the sprinklers couldn't get at it, in closed quote, said Chief Leroy. Continuing on, the initial 911 call for the fire came at 9:17 a.m. on Thursday after cook smelled smoke in the kitchen, although it's unknown whether the fire had started there, said Chief Leroy of Bloomfield Township. His dire prediction, quote, we'll probably never know what truly happened. The damage is so far advanced, and closed quote. The piles of ancient smoldering timbers are so daunting that fire inspectors will be challenged to survey the ruins, Bloomfield Township Fire Marshal Peter Vlahos told the Free Press. Likewise, Vlahos also said he was doubtful that a cause could be pinpointed. Quote, we're going to have to use some heavy machinery, and closed quote, to move debris so that inspectors can literally get to the bottom of the conflagration's trail of evidence, Vlahos said. And when they get there, clear evidence of the fire's cause may well have gone up in smoke. That full article from the Detroit Free Press on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Also making headlines a little ways away from here in Oakland County. Downriver in Warren, Ukrainians rallied with politicians and faith leaders in support of their homeland. When people tell Boris Potapenko that his Ukrainian activism is a result of his personal connection to the country, he scoffs. Though his own family history is rife with examples of violence endured in Ukraine in the past century, Potapenko, 71, said he advocates for Ukraine because of the millions of lives lost due to wars and famine, and the others that might be lost if Russia invades Ukraine. Potapenko, with the Detroit chapter of the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, helped organize a quote-unquote all-community rally, and closed quote, on Sunday with the Ukrainian American Crisis Response Committee of Michigan to speak out against the threat from Russia and to commemorate protesters who were shot by snipers in Ukraine in 2014, known as the, quote, Heavenly Hundred, and closed quote, and others who died. Quote, it's got to do with 40 million dead in the 20th century, 14,000 more in the last 8 years, and God only knows what is going to happen perhaps in the next few days, and closed quote, said Potapenko. President Joe Biden last week said he was, quote unquote, convinced that Russian President Vladimir Putin had decided to invade Ukraine, including an assault on the capital, Kyiv, a city of nearly 3 million people. Hundreds of thousands of Russian troops are stationed at the Ukrainian border, but the country denies its intention to invade. Quote, what President Biden is doing right now is totally unprecedented, and closed quote, said Potapenko, continuing on. For him to say that Ukraine's freedom is so important that the U.S. will band their allies together, that will stand up to Putin, they will defend Ukraine. That is a wild dream. That's like a wild dream, in closed quote. In Warren, some 250 attendees trickled into the crowded banquet hall, and the rally began with opening remarks by Mykola Muskage, chairman of the Crisis Response Committee, who said that he grew up listening to his grandmother's stories about the struggles Ukrainians endured before their country declared independence in 1991. Quote, the prospect that Vladimir Putin's ambitions of empire could undo centuries of freedom fighting, could undo all the works of millions of fathers and mothers, sons and daughters who left home to fight for freedom. That terrifies me, said Muskage. But the committee's estimate, 46,000 people of Ukrainian heritage live in Michigan. The event Sunday was held to raise awareness about the imminent danger of a Russian invasion and occupation, as well as to highlight the plight of Ukrainians living in Crimea, including the region's indigenous Muslim population as well. Muskage and the other organizers spoke of the massive human and economic toll of war in Ukraine and penned a letter to President Biden and urged the federal government to enact severe, immediate sanctions against Russia if the country invades Ukraine, including personal sanctions against Kremlin leaders. They also recommended continued defense security assistance. Senior U.S. officials on Sunday defended their decision to hold off on crippling sanctions of Russia ahead of an expected invasion, leaving open the door for diplomatic solutions. Quote, in these coming days and weeks, we will have to decide whether our convictions mean anything, said Muskage. Continuing on, Muskage said, whether right and wrong are something more than nice ideas, and closed quote. A presentation of colors in which American and Ukrainian flags were carried onto the stage by Ukrainian American veterans followed Muskage's remarks, the crowd all standing, sang both countries' national anthems before a prayer for peace was led by a local pastor of the Immaculate Conception Ukrainian Catholic Church. Warren Mayor Jim Fouch joined organizers in calling on the U.S. to continue its support of Ukraine's democracy and emphasized the importance of unity between Democrats and Republicans and independents in the country when it comes to protecting Ukraine's democracy. Mayor Fouts commended politicians such as Representative Haley Stevens, a Democrat from Rochester, as well as Rocky Ruchkovsky, chair of the Oakland County Republican Party, for attending the rally Sunday and embodying that unity. The newly elected mayor of Hamtramck, Amir Ghalib, said he attended the event in solidarity with the Ukrainian community, which is, quote, part of the fabric of Hamtramck, and close quote. Quote, there's no good war and bad war. All war is bad, said Ghalib, in closed quote, stressing his support for a democratic Ukraine in opposition to a war that would create, quote, a mess all around the world, in closed quote. Outside the banquet hall, Eugene Bodorenko, 33, of Ann Arbor, said he was happy about the difference he saw between the West's reaction to the Ukraine crisis now versus in 2014. Quote, in 2014, the Ukrainian community was largely playing catch-up to a degree where sometimes we had to explain, hey, we're actually a different country than Russia with a different language, in close quote, said Bodorenko, who teaches Ukrainian and Russian languages and cultures at the University of Michigan. Quote, I'm very heartened to the fact that the West has taken sort of a more active role in this, end close quote, he said. Ukrainians in the country have been the calmest group about the prospect of a Russian invasion, Bodorenko said, with many doubting the possibility of a full-scale war. Still, he added, no one he spoke to ever said that they would leave the country because they were afraid of having to fight. Quote, I really hope that the Kremlin is aware of this, he said. For Marina Kahut's parents, leaving the country was not a choice. Like Potapenko's parents, they were forced into Nazi labor camps during World War II. Kohut, 77, of West Bloomfield, was born in Munich and wasn't able to visit her parents' homeland and see the impact of the Soviet Union's occupation until she was in her 40s. She sees the impact of the Soviet Union and Russia on her family to this day. However, instead it reached her children as well. She blames Russia for having a small family without connection to her parents, siblings, and other relatives. Quote, Russians, what they did in the war after the war is they took families apart, said Kahut, continuing on. My family was separated. Some are in Poland, some are in Germany and Ukraine, and all different places, end close quote. This means Kahut grew up without an extended family and raised her children without one as well. Quote, in the summer, your next door neighbors have barbecues. They have big families, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, and they're all happy, said Kahut. And you're kind of alone. I have never had any support group to help me raise my children. Always I had to fight my own battles, end close quote. That full article from the Detroit News, as well as supporting materials from the Detroit News on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Lastly, making headlines all across the state of Michigan. For those of you looking forward to fishing season, the DNR has announced fishing regulations for Michigan's 2022 season. This is from Bridge, Michigan. Expanded underwater spearfishing, catch limits, and size restrictions are among Michigan's new fishing laws. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources this week announced most of the changes will go into effect on April 1st. Fishing licenses go on sale online on March 1st and are valid for 1 year. Here is a look at some of the fishing changes for 2022. Walleye size limits increase in Lake St. Clair and in St. Clair River. Anglers who are fishing in Lake St. Clair and the St. Clair River have to catch longer walleye. The DNR increased the size limit from 13 to 15 inches, which is the same as the statewide regulation. The DNR changed the minimum size limit to make its walleye regulations uniform throughout the connected waters of St. Clair, Detroit Rivers systems. The system includes Lake St. Clair River, the Detroit River, as well as Lake Erie. Catch more round whitefish in Lake Superior. Anglers can try to catch more whitefish in Lake Superior. The DNR increased the daily round whitefish limit to allow anglers to keep 10 additional fish in Lake Superior. Similar to the lake whitefish, but smaller, few round whitefish are caught by recreational anglers because of it is primarily a commercial species. That's because round whitefish are rarely seen unless they venture into shallow waters in April and May, and again in October and November to breed. Underwater spearfishing in southern Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. Anyone interested in trying to spear lake trout, northern pike, and walleye underwater can do so in southern Lake Michigan and Lake Huron starting on April 1st. Such areas include waters of southernmost pier at Grand Haven and waters south of the southernmost pier of Thunder Bay River, extending south to the mouth of the St. Clair River. Underwater spearfishing involves gear and slingshot-like elastic-powered spear guns to catch fish. The DNR does not expect many people to catch a lot of fish using this technique and this unique and demanding method. So the agency is not concerned about the expansion causing biological concerns. Underwater spearers will have to get a no-cost underwater license and report their effort and harvest monthly to the Department of Natural Resources. This way, the agency can track and collect information about the number of people taking part in the activity. More fishing in Torch Lake and Rapid Rivers with special hooks is also included in this list from the DNR. Anglers can fish on Torch Lake in Antrim County and the Rapid River in Delta County from May 1st to July under the DNR's new special hook regulations. To fish legally on Torch River from Crystal Beach Road Bridge downstream to Lake downstream, including the Rapid River up to Aaronwood Road Bridge, anglers have to use a single-pointed hook measuring 1/2 inch or less from point to shank from May 1st to July 1st. According to the DNR, the regulation replaces the fishing closure on these waters and allows anglers to fish while protecting resources. Catch only one rainbow trout steelhead in a day in some waters. Anglers may only catch one rainbow trout steelhead in some inland streams from March 15th to May 1st. The Michigan Natural Resource Commission, the government body that oversees new wildlife and fishing regulations, changed the bag limit in November of 2021 amid declining steelhead populations in some tributaries. The one fish bag limit applies to Bear Creek, Manistee River, Pierre Marquette, Muskegon River, Manistee River, and Carp River. The steelhead population in Lake Michigan has steadily declined from 3.5 million in 2011 to just under 3 million in 2018, according to the steelhead populations at Little Manistee Weir dropped significantly from just over 6,000 in 2002 to under 2,000 in 2020. That full article, as well as all of our articles, on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. We have a great show ahead of you today. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be joined by Ralph Tompkins, the owner of Swag Kids Gym in West Bloomfield Township. He'll talk about the specialized gym for kids, helping them learn to love physical activity, stay active, engage with others their age, and an upcoming event that he'll be participating in recognition of Black History Month, along with West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. That's coming up at 10:20. At 10:40, we'll have a special airing of Hello Waterford from the Media Network of Waterford, where tomorrow I'll be joined right here in our studio by Jeff Decker, host of In Town on the Media Network of Waterford. He will co-host the Oakland County Megacast Hour on Tuesday's edition. So we'll give you some of their great programming from over there at the Media Network of Waterford and tell you what's going on in Waterford coming up at 10:40. At 11 o'clock, kicking off the Michigan Megacast, we'll speak to David Smith. He is the 50th GED graduate from the education program at the nonprofit Grace Centers of Hope, located in Pontiac, Michigan. At 11:20, the good doctor, Dr. Jamie Tawil from Grand River Medical Associates, will join us, talk about the latest with COVID-19, also talk about American Heart Month and some of the ways we can protect our heart health as well. And then at 11:40, we'll be joined by Paulette Epstein from the Michigan Science Center, talking all about their new special exhibit all about volcanoes. That's all coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, How your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Joining us now is Ralph Compens. He is the owner of Swag Kids Gym located in West Bloomfield with us again on the show. Ralph, thank you for being with us again.
Hey, Tyler. Happy New Year, buddy. Been a little bit. Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good with us. How are you doing? How's your team over there at Swag Kids Gym?
Yeah, team's doing good, man. Team's doing good. Appreciate you asking.
Good to hear. So, of course, this is a gym specifically targeted as being for activities for children. What inspired you to open a gym specifically for kids?
You know, it wasn't even originally in the cards, but I had spent 5 years at a little gym in West Bloomfield and really loved it and wanted to just expand on some of the things and offerings that they had, and took the risk and wanted to go on my own. And it's been about 2.5 years that Swag's been open, made it through the pandemic, and really very fortunate to have the opportunity to offer so much to so many kids and families throughout, the state of Michigan and, of course, in the city of West Bloomfield.
And it's really interesting, too, because not only is this a place that is intended on inspiring activity for kids, it's really built on building those early principles for activity and for really the benefits, both physical, mental, social, and emotional, that come from physical exercise, physical activity at a young age. Your gym was founded on, as you have listed, 3 different principles. Can you talk to us about those principles and why those became the core of everything that you do over there at Swag Kids Gym?
Yeah, so, a lot of the times now people see or have heard about what we do via video, social media, things like that. And it looks extremely fun, which it is, but there's a lot of developmental principles that go alongside of, the fun. So a lot of times we like to really encourage people to let their kids grow and develop at their own pace, which is the fundamental basis of the program, is being in an atmosphere which is comfortable. And not all the time, especially with the pandemic, kids are able to walk in and be a part of scenarios where they're instantly comfortable. So it takes commitment not only from, the kids wanting to come every week, but from the parents wanting to stick with it, just knowing that every situation isn't going to be ideal, but it's about allowing the kids to have an opportunity to really kind of figure out their own self within their own space of the gym and being able to have an opportunity to grow and develop at their own pace. So I think it's really important that parents give their opportunity to their kids to be able to grow and not have such high expectations on performance. It does take time. So this is why Swag Kids Gym was founded, and we really believe the things that we do inside of our gym really helps kids get a little bit more comfortable quicker than most different activities that may be accessible for kids.
And it can be difficult for parents, too, to find those activities for kids that engage them, that are productive for them in their early development especially, but also just in general, speaking for parents. I don't know for sure. I'm not a parent. I've only, the closest thing I've ever been to that kind of a role was as a camp counselor, but it's very tough to get kids to calm themselves down and to engage in certain activities, especially those that they may not want to engage in. So for you at Swag Kids Gym, how do you incorporate that knowledge into your programs, into your activities to make them engaging for kids, even if they're a little bit reluctant at first to engage in some of those activities?
Yeah, so the key for us is we start super early with our programming. So we start as young as 10 months old, and we go all the way up to 12. So with the ages 4 and under, we allow for them to freely explore around the gym however they like, their parents are also inside the gym, so they get the social and emotional interaction, of course, with their parents, and of course, having a parent or a loved one near them makes everybody more confident, especially the young ones. But they also get the opportunity to be around other kids, so they get used to that socialization and structure aspect. So we don't force them to do things that aren't comfortable for them, but we do allow them to step inside the gym. And I mean, if you're in whatever they see that they may want to be interested in, they have the opportunity to freely explore, which allows for anxiety to decrease because they're in a situation where they have a secure person, a parent, a guardian, caretaker, things of that nature. But they also see other kids who may be a little bit more comfortable than themselves step in an atmosphere and just be willing to just run around and be free in an atmosphere that's super energetic, upbeat. And then all of our coaches, of course, are very engaging. But, you know, we do understand a kid does need time to kind of warm up and grow up in the atmosphere. So we insert ourselves into their lives accordingly.
We're joined by Ralph Tompkins, owner of Swag Kids Gym in West Bloomfield, joining us on the Megacast. You can learn more information by visiting the website at swagkidsgym.com or visiting their location located at 7306 Haggerty Road in West Bloomfield. And so on that note too, Ralph, it can be tough to keep kids engaged. Getting them engaged is one challenge, but keeping them engaged in what they're doing, especially in physical activity or in playtime, and productive playtime, can be really tough too. And that goes back to your second principle of entertainment for enjoyment. How important is variety in general in fitness, but especially for kids in fitness and physical activity, to keep them interested, to keep them coming back, and to ultimately develop that into something that is part of their activities that they enjoy as they grow up?
Yeah, so for us as staff at the gym, it's actually the funnest part for us, is being able to create different opportunities for kids to be able to gain confidence, gain skill, gain traction, and the physical, the social, and emotional development. So it's really awesome. Swag is essentially we can create any kind of workout, obstacle course, gymnastic, exercise opportunity at any point, any time, which makes it super versatile. So anytime they step in the gym, it looks a little different. And then, of course, our job as coaches and staff at the gym is to be able to properly assess kids' physical ability to be able to make it challenging for them, so they want to keep coming back. So variety is extremely important, especially for kids who, as you know, they have short attention spans. But it is an opportunity for them every time they step in the gym. They can expect something a little bit different, and it makes it fun for us, like I said, as instructors and staff, to create a new experience for them. It keeps it fresh for them, and it certainly keeps it fresh for us. So we're able to create whatever we want at any time we want, and it's based off the needs and the abilities of our kids that come into the gym.
We're joined by Ralph Tompkins, owner of Swag Kids Gym, located on Haggerty Road in West Bloomfield, joining us on the Megacast. More information on their website, swagkidsgym.com. And so your third principle, of course, inspire future generations, as it's listed here. And so as you're approaching these activities, as you're designing these activities, as you're working with the kids in groups and in individual settings, and inspiring fitness in them, how important is it to make that to make these activities something that they're interested in long term, so it becomes not only part of what they're interested in, what they keep coming back to later on, but also helps them bring along their peers as well, which can be a much easier way to approach that than having adults preach to kids the importance of physical activity.
Yeah, so essentially the great thing about the gym is that believe it or not, there is an opportunity for these kids to have physical literacy, which basically gives them the opportunity to learn how to maneuver and coordinate and balance their body through exercise. So it is a great starter for that. Physical literacy is something that's super important. And of course, the more kids understand how to use their body, how it operates, how to learn how to take safe risks, how to navigate that and listen to instruction, it naturally does grow their skill and coordination, but most importantly, it builds their confidence. So when they step into other activities that are outside of swag, maybe sports or dance or anything else of that nature, they have a leg up because they are building their foundational movement, and they're also building their brain to know how to do and what to do with their body at appropriate times for physical activity and coordination. So that's super key, and that inspires them because they have the confidence in the literacy to know how they're supposed to do it, what they're supposed to do, and they're able to take instruction really great, which definitely helps them, and it helps other peers around them to be able to see that they have learned from a program like SWAG to be able to incorporate that into helping others as well, which is super key in them being a great kid and a good person. It's equally as important to be a great person and a productive person in our society as it is to be physically literate. So we combine both of those within all the elements that we have at SWAG.
We're joined by Ralph Tompkins, owner of Swag Kids Gym, located on Haggerty Road in West Bloomfield. You can learn more information on their website at swagkidsgym.com. That is swagkidsgym.com. And part of what is important in building a fitness regimen for everyone, but also inspiring fitness as a regular activity, is keeping that positive attitude, because in a lot of these situations, the games you're playing, the sports you're learning, the workouts you're doing, they can be really difficult, or you can hit a snag, or you can hit a low point, some sort of difficulty, and lose that inspiration, lose that positive attitude. So for you, personally, how do you keep yourself positive, and then how do you inspire the children in particular that are taking part in these activities to keep them positive too when they hit those snags, when they hit those roadblocks that they need to work through?
Tyler, honestly, man, for me, it's super easy to be motivated. COVID has definitely had a negative effect on a lot of people in so many ways. We were very fortunate enough to come out of it and be doing very well. Our business is doing very good. So I have a great team around me, from my management staff to all my coaches, to partnerships that we have outside of SWAG that believe in what we do, and they believe in me. So I would never want to disappoint them and let them down. So it's super easy for me to wake up super motivated personally, because I got a great support system around me, great family, great friends, great teammates that I consider family, and then great business partners as well. And then obviously I'm super thankful for the people who believe in us as far as clients and families that put their trust in us when we were at our very lowest point and COVID was at its peak in regards to stuff that we didn't know about. They were willing to invest their time and their energy into us making their kids better. So those motivating factors alone, between who I have supporting me as a staff and business partnerships, as well as the people who believe and invest in our program in regards to joining, makes it super easy for me to be motivated. So that allows us as coaches and staff members to essentially give it our all to those kids. And yes, there are going to be like bumps in the road, and we really do, for older age groups, we really do challenge them to push to be at their best. So but we do it in a way like, hey, we're with you, you can do it, very positive reinforcement. So the same energy that they give us when they come to the door and want to do it, we give it back to them in regards to teaching, what we know, and teaching, tough times, those are the ones that you're going to have to make it through, and it makes you better and it makes you stronger. So it builds character. So we're extremely fortunate as a company, as a staff, and, as people who really care about kids being able to get 1% better each day at whatever they do. Like, we take it really serious because there's people who believe in us. So that gives us the motivation to give it right back to them in regards to making them better.
We're joined by Ralph Tompkins, owner of Swag Kids Gym on the Megacast. More information on the website, swagkidsgym.com. And of course, in addition to being a great physical education teacher for these kids at your gym and being a great trainer, you also have another skill as a DJ. And we'll be seeing those DJ skills on display on Saturday, February 26th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Orchard Mall here in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake and on Maple, just off the corner of Maple Road, for the West Bloomfield Parks Black History Month Black Expo in a special role as their DJ. Talk to us about what we can expect at that event and where you develop these DJ skills.
I'm super excited. It's the first one. It's in our backyard in West Bloomfield, and couldn't be more fortunate and excited to be able to step outside the box of the normal realm and expand into DJ stuff. But I've been doing it for about 3-4 years now, just at various events. But I get a lot of practice because the music that we play at the gym is very upbeat. So I've been able to develop some skills there. I did some work with Star Trek's Entertainment for a couple of years. They're the best in the business in regards to any kind of special events, bar mitzvahs, weddings, stuff like that. So they gave me a great foundation, and now I had a very good opportunity to expand out and be on my own and kind of offer that service for Swag Kids Gym. So we definitely DJ special events, weddings, doing some mitzvahs, doing some expos. We did the View Fest Festival. So, yeah, it's just always been something that's been a special interest for me. And if I didn't have, my staff members like Coach Katie, Coach Malia, I wouldn't be able to step out into that realm. So, as much excitement as I have about it, I got a good team around me that allows us to expand and do several other things. But the expo, we're super excited for. We're going to have some great businesses there that are Black owned, and they get an opportunity to network and grow their own business, which is super exciting for me to be able to kind of lead and forecast that for several key businesses. They have great people running it. So I'm just a small piece of the puzzle to it, but get to add the entertainment and some excitement to it as well. So super thankful for that. Hopefully it's going to be the first of many, which I know it will. And I know the businesses that are going to be there, they're going to have great information, great booths, great insight, and definitely want to make sure that the word gets out to support those businesses, because they work as equally as hard as anybody else to make sure their business runs. So it's nice to be able to meet those business owners and to be able to have them represented at the expo. So really excited about that.
Ralph, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
All right, man. Be well. Hopefully, good to get you guys at the come out to the gym soon and check it out. You guys will be blown away.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
as partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith. You can learn more about everywhere we broadcast live and live to tape, and find all of our full episodes and each individual interview on demand at civiccentertv.com by clicking on our Megacast link, or just typing in civiccentertv.com/Megacast. One of our great cable partners here at the Megacast is the Media Network of Waterford. Their very own Jeff Decker from In Town will be right here with us for the Oakland County hour of the show on Tuesday this week. So we thought it would be a great opportunity to get you more familiar with our friends in Waterford. One of their wonderful original programs is Hello Waterford, where hosts Aaron Asdell from the Waterford Senior Center and Allison Swanson from Waterford Parks and Recreation discuss news and special events all around Waterford and surrounding communities. Now we'll show you a segment of their program, their original program from the Media Network of Waterford, Hello Waterford.
Hello Waterford, thank you for joining us for another episode. I'm Allison Swanson from Waterford Parks and Recreation, here with my friend Aaron Asdell.
Hello Waterford, hi Allison.
Aaron's from the Waterford Senior Center, as you all know, and we are glad that you're joining us today for some news, updates, and special events going on in Waterford and surrounding communities. It's time to vote again, Waterford. Governor Whitmer has called special elections for Waterford Township to replace our 43rd District Representative, Andrea Shorter, who has sadly passed away. The election dates are March 1st and May 3rd of 2022. Only residents in the 43rd District will vote. Absentee ballot applications for those on the permanent absentee voter list were mailed out on January 4th. If you want to vote by mail, you must complete the application, sign it, and return it to the clerk's office. If you want to help promote democracy, you can also sign up to work these elections. Waterford's always working for excellent election workers. If you need more information on how to become an election worker, visit waterfordmi.gov/elections. Don't forget to pay your taxes online by February 14th. Waterford Township's property tax owners have the option to pay real and personal property taxes online. Payment options include electronic checking, e-check, and credit or debit card payments. All payments are assessed a convenience fee. Electronic checking, e-check payments are assessed a $1 fee. Credit or debit card payments are assessed a fee that is 2.49% of the payment amount. If you're looking for a job, Waterford Township has job openings. Come join our amazing team. Positions that are available include applications administrator, community development grant coordinator, crossing guards, custodians, development services director, dispatcher, election workers, and there are police and fire openings. Applications can be found on the Waterford Township website at waterfordmi.gov/jobs. There are job applications under general employment applications, and the applications can be emailed to Arlene Ward at award@waterfordmi.gov. You'll need to save the application and attach it to your email. Please note that if you're applying for police officer or firefighter job, faxed applications are not accepted, and there's a drop box at the front doors that you can leave the applications in, located at 5200 Civic Center Drive.
Waterford Township Library is hosting a writer's workshop for published and unpublished writers. They're all invited to join a community of writers to provide constructive and supportive critiques of each other's works and to further discuss the craft of writing. Each writer will have the opportunity to read their work to the group. Each writer should bring at least 5 copies of their work with a limit of 5 typewritten double-spaced pages of fiction, nonfiction, poetry, prose, screenplays, etc., for peer review and discussion. All copies will be returned to the writer with edits, constructive critiques, and suggestions by fellow group members. The goal is to write, share, and develop works that make us feel, to celebrate the art of words, to provoke, evoke, and inspire, to write confidently. The workshop will meet on the first and third Tuesdays of each month in the conference room of the Waterford Township Public Library from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Participants must be 16 or older and no registration is required. And now we have a sports report from Leon Willicke.
Hello and welcome back to another Waterford Sports Update. Now in 2022. Hope you are all staying warm out there during these cold, dark winter months. The pro football may have been done for the season last month here in Detroit, but good news, you won't have to wait for the fall to watch it in action, sort of, as the USFL is making a comeback this April after a 36-year hiatus. The league, with the Michigan Panthers included, will be playing all their games for this initial season back down in Alabama, but come 2023, will be playing where their respective team cities are. Now to the hardwood, where the Pistons, part of a 4-team trade, have just recently acquired Marvin Bagley III, as they look to keep a top 5 pick lined up for this next upcoming draft. The Red Wings, on the other hand, they are 7 points out of the wild card at the moment, with 34 games remaining on the schedule. Hope their sticks are ready, as it's going to be a competitive race to the finish. Oh, and by the way, they currently have 3 rookies that could win Rookie of the Year. As for the Tigers, well, at this point in time, who knows when the season will start, as they are 70 days into the lockout now, with the regular season supposed to start at the end of next month. Nobody knows. If you or your team would like to be featured on the next Waterford Sports Update, you can send your information to waterfordsportsupdate@gmail.com. That's it for today. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time.
Canterbury Village is hosting a chili crawl on Saturday, February 26th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Nothing beats warm chili on a cold winter day. You will be able to warm up and experience many different homemade chili recipes during the Canterbury Village Chili Crawl on February 26th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Great chili tasting samples paired with great shopping makes for a perfect outing. Visit the boutiques and specialty shops throughout Canterbury Village, as each one will feature their own unique chili creation. The shops are also competing for the Best Chili Award, which will be voted on by all attendees. Don't miss the Canterbury Chili Crawl. There will be plenty of delicious combinations for the entire family to enjoy. Tickets are non-refundable and non-exchangeable. The event is hosted rain, snow, or shine. Printed tickets or showing tickets on your phone are both accepted. Children under 2, military, and veterans are free. Online registration is required. Military ID will also be required to be shown at the event entrance. Admission is free. Service fees will apply. Free admission is for that individual only, and their guests must purchase advance tickets online. Parking is $5. Parking fees will be charged during initial ticket purchase at www.etix.com. On Saturday, March 12th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., there's a Spring Fling craft show at the Springfield Oaks County Park at 12451 Andersonville Road, Davisburg, Michigan. Over 300 crafters and vendors will be there. D&W's street food eatery truck will also be there. There's free admission, and we will be in the Grand Hall. That's at the Springfield Oaks County Park.
Next up, a lot of events and things going on at Parks and Recreation as we prepare for the busy spring and summer season here in Waterford. We are right now taking registration for spring soccer, and this is our youth soccer leagues that play out at the Civic Center soccer fields. The season begins April 24th, but don't forget to register your youngster by March 18th. That's our deadline, so don't forget to enroll. We have online registration, in-person registration is also available. Youth soccer is available for co-ed under 6 all the way up to girls under 14. So please make sure you sign up and register for that. Also, we're thinking to summer already. We know there's lots of snow on the ground, but we have summer ball, which is our boys and girls t-ball all the way up through fast pitch. We are doing registration through May 6th, so don't forget to register for that as well if you're looking for a co-ed. T-ball, intermediate, coach pitch, an intro to fast pitch, all the way up to a more competitive fast pitch. We're doing registration for that now. I know a lot of parents always are wondering when to sign their kids up. So rule of thumb with us is to always sign up kind of a season ahead of when the sport starts. So we have time to form the teams, find the volunteer coaches, and get your child placed into the league. We've got some great other fun events coming up. We've got our sheep shearing and pancake breakfast. That'll be a big event. We are welcoming back our pancake breakfast this year. The sheep shearing and pancake breakfast is April 23rd at Hess Hathaway Park. The sheep shearing event takes place at 10 o'clock. The sheep are sheared at 10, and between 9 and 11 you can enjoy a pancake breakfast out. We're going to do it this year out at the pavilion so we can distance everybody safely. $3 for those 10 and under, $5 for 11 and older, cash only. We're going to have the sheep sheared, some wool spinning demonstrations, make and take crafts from youth assistants, and it'll be a fun event out at the farm. That's a good one to let kids actually see like how we utilize Hess Hathaway as an actual working farm with the sheep being sheared. And then that weekend is also like Earth Day weekend. So Earth Day is the Friday, the 22nd. So Saturday, the 23rd, we're going to be working with Six Rivers Land Conservancy out at the Drayton Plains Nature Center. And we'll have a couple different interpretive nature walks that day. So we don't have all the details finalized yet, but check on our Parks and Recreation website and our Facebook page for more information as it gets closer to that April 23rd. And we'll have the details about the different times the walks are going to take place at the Drayton Plains Nature Center that day. We are also going to be welcoming our a Mom to Mom sale on April 30th from 9 to 1 over at the Waterford Recreation Center. So please check our website under special events and featured programs for details on our upcoming Mom to Mom sale. You'll have the option to sell gently used children's clothing and toys at this event on April 30th, and the table and booth prices will be available on our website as well. We also have a fun event that we launched last year, and we're bringing it back this year. It was very successful. It's called Egg My House. So order your candy and toy-filled eggs to be delivered to your house, or surprise your family and friends with some Easter fun. You'll have the option to have them scattered in your yard or a box left on your front porch. So $35 for 35 eggs, $45 for 50 eggs, and you have to order by March 31st. The eggs are delivered by Easter Bunny's special helpers, that have contacts here in Waterford at Parks and Recreation. So you'll choose your delivery date. They'll either be delivered Thursday, April 14th between 11 and 2, or Saturday, April 16th between 10 and 1. The candy pieces will all be individually wrapped, and you must live in Waterford Township. So you register online at our Parks and Recreation website for this event. So a lot of stuff going on. We have a travel show if you are 50 and older and are interested in taking some of our fun and exciting trips we have to offer. Wednesday, April 6th at 10 a.m. You can join us for a free informative travel show at the Waterford Recreation Center, where we'll have information on our upcoming trips, the Mississippi River Cruise, the New York City fireworks trip, Cape Cod, Ireland, the Route 66 Heartland of America trip, Railroads of West Virginia, and Lancaster Christmas. So if you're interested or in traveling with us, maybe you're a first-time traveler, maybe you're curious about how our trips works, is a great time to talk to our staff and the tour companies, get your questions answered, and learn more about how you can travel with us in a safe, fun environment. So if you have any other questions, as always, please feel free to give us a call at Parks and Recreation or visit our website, and we'll be happy to assist you with any issues or questions you have.
Now I have a few updates on the Waterford Senior Center. Plenty going on in February and March at the Senior Center, and you can always check us out, drive by our building, come on in, see what's going on. But we have a few special events I'd like to tell you about. First of all, very important is that the tax program through the AARP is working in our building this year. The setup is a little bit different. You have to call AARP's tax number or go online to get your appointment. We are not taking any appointments at the Senior Center. So you can call their number, 248-897-0861, and they will call you back. Or you can register online at www.aarpfoundation.org/taxaid to request a tax appointment. And you can ask for the Waterford location when you call. So we'll be doing the taxes in our building now through April 15th. So appointments are filling up fast, so do call or stop in and get the paperwork online to register online. Other things going on, we have Valentine Bunko on February 14th at 1 p.m. $5. We ask that you bring a box of chocolates or your favorite candy for a Valentine treat exchange. We also will be hosting Lucky Irish Bunko on Wednesday, March 16th at 1 p.m. with a $5 per person charge. On St. Patrick's Day, we'll have the Luck of the Irish, March 17th, 12 noon in the bistro. We'll have all sorts of shenanigans in our bistro. We'll have live music, we'll have corned beef hash, boiled cabbage, carrots, garden salad, rye bread, and a dessert. So that's always lots of fun. Make sure you wear your green for that. We have a save the date for Detroit Tigers home opener celebration on Friday, April 8th at 12 noon in our bistro. I believe that will be hosted by yours truly, one of the biggest Tiger fans in Waterford. $5 for that luncheon. Other special announcements, our gift shop is open. They've adjusted the hours a little bit. They're now open 9:30 to 3, Monday through Friday, so stop in our gift shop. We also have our used book sale going on every day, and we have puzzles for sale as well. Other fun things happening, we have a Mardi Gras drive-up parade on March 1st. You can come through between 1 and 2, drive through our parking lot, and we'll have punch keys and beads and various stops with goodies being given away. And any donations given that day will benefit the Encore Adult Daycare Program. So stop by for a little bit of Mardi Gras fun before Lent starts. We'll celebrate and get a little crazy in the parking lot of the Waterford Senior Center. Another important program happening now in partnership with Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency. We are now hosting the Commodity Supplemental Food Program at our building. On the third Friday of each month, They will have a commodity giveaway for seniors. You do need to meet their income requirements, but again, no proof is asked at the door. You have to register ahead of time. You can call Olivia Barrera at 248-860-3152 for more information on how to register. So if you're 60 years or older and be at or below 130% of the federal poverty income guidelines. So also they ask that you not be a current Focus Hope recipient. So lots of good things going on at the Waterford Senior Center. We have all of our regular daily activities, cards, games, exercise. We will be starting a new, well, we're starting lots of new programs for the spring, so I guess just come on in. And thank you very much. Well, it was a good show. Thanks for watching, everybody. And Allison, I have a few Valentine jokes for you.
Oh, I knew you would, Erin.
Okay. So, what did the paper clip say to the magnet?
I'm stuck on you or something?
I'm attracted to you.
Oh, good one. Love it.
How can you tell, Allison, if a squirrel's in love?
Not sure, Erin. How do you tell?
He goes nuts. Okay, and here's my last one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's Cupid's favorite band?
I don't know, Erin. There's so many to pick from.
Kiss.
Oh.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Bye, Waterford. Happy Valentine's Day.
See you next month.
Friends at the Media Network of Waterford. Hello, Waterford, with Erin Asdell from the Waterford Senior Center and Allison Swanson from Waterford Parks and Recreation. Again, we'll be joined by Jeff Decker from the Media Network of Waterford with me from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on tomorrow, Tuesday, February 22nd, here on the Oakland County Megacast. We're going to take a break on your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Coming up next, we'll be speaking with the 50th GED graduate from the education program at the nonprofit Grace Centers of Hope over there in Pontiac. Then at the bottom of the hour at 11:20, we'll be joined by Dr. Jamie Tawil from Grand River Medical Associates and then Paulette Epstein from the Michigan Science Center. That's all coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know. The boys boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes, they stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more information about everywhere we broadcast live and live to tape on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find all of our episodes and each individual interview on demand, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now from Grace Centers of Hope's education program is their 50th GED graduate, David Smith, joining us on the show. David, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate having you on. So, first off, let's start from the beginning of your journey. How did you end up becoming part of this program with Grace Centers of Hope? What led you to Grace Centers of Hope and then into this GED program ultimately?
Well, first I got to say that I'm only here today by the amazing grace of God. Paul wrote to the Romans that we know that all things work together for good to them that love God and to them who are the called according to his purpose. But to answer your question, I guess you could say my journey has been a 41-year journey. To wrap it up kind of quickly, you know, I entered Grace Centers of Hope a little over a year ago, and the first thing I wanted to do was get involved with the GED program. And when I first met my case manager, I had mentioned to him that I would love to. I have a full year to do things, and this is on the top of my list, you know. So I spoke with him, and we got me enrolled, and we started right away.
And so, how did being involved with Grace Centers of Hope, being involved with this education program, how did that help to change your view on life, but also change your path in life, as well as? And from just reading your story, from the age of 12, you had been dealing with issues with experimenting with drugs and with alcohol, and it caused a lot of problems. It led to a lot of problems in your life that ultimately this program was able to help bring some sort of clarity and path forward for you. So can you talk to that aspect of how being involved with this program with Grace Centers of Hope has ultimately changed your life?
Well, being involved with Grace Centers of Hope, I got to hear the gospel. It helped me develop a new worldview and a biblical view on life. And that was essential to changing my path. You know, like you said, I've struggled for a really long time with substance abuse. And I never heard the gospel, and you know, I lived Christless for a long time, and it just opened up my eyes to a lot of different things. And Grace Centers of Hope saved my life through Jesus Christ, without a doubt. You know, I wouldn't have survived last winter had I not come to Grace Centers of Hope. I heard about Grace through the mother of my children, Jenna. Before we had met, she went to Grace Centers of Hope, and it saved her life as well. So I guess you could say it kind of brought our family together and our kids. And it's just amazing what can happen in a year. You know, if you'd have told me I'd be sitting here with you a year ago talking about this, I'd have told you you're crazy. You know, I've been very blessed, and I can't say enough good things about Grace Centers of Hope and what they've helped me do.
Yeah, a lot can change in the course of a year in anyone's life, and especially when you are actively looking to make a change in yours and trying to find some place that helps you find that direction forward. So for you, David, I know that this program through Grace Centers of Hope, their programs and then their education program, it wasn't the first sort of rehabilitation effort that you had put forth in trying to recover from your drug and alcohol issues. What was the difference with this program versus some of the other programs that you had tried to engage in previously? What made the difference in the programs you engaged with Grace Centers of Hope to ultimately, for you personally, help you along on your journey?
That's easy. Hearing the gospel. I've attended a few other rehabs that were secular and that were only 30 days. You know, they do a lot of good things for you, and I totally respect them, but I needed Jesus Christ, bottom line.
So what is that difference maker there in your relationship with Jesus Christ, with the gospel through this program? How in what way did that connection make that difference for you? What really touched you in connecting or reconnecting with the gospel in this program versus, in like you said, the other shorter form and more secular programs?
Well, I realized I wasn't alone. You know, my whole life struggling with addiction, I always had a deep emptiness inside of me that I was always trying to fill with drugs and alcohol, mainly alcohol, but lots of drugs. I had no hope. I was basically trying to kill myself through alcohol. And once the Lord found me, you know, it started, the Spirit filled me, you know. I realized that I'm not alone anymore, and that through Christ anything is possible. And that was just huge to comprehend. I'm still kind of awestruck, I guess you could say. It's I don't really know how to explain it, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, in any journey, especially one that can be, I would imagine, as stressful, as tough, as up and down, as a battle with addiction, finding that one thing that connects with you and helps you to motivate yourself forward in your journey, in your recovery, can be so crucial. And it's an amazing story to hear that in a year, your connection with the gospel, your connection with Grace Centers of Hope was able to help you recover in a way that you had not been able to realize in the past. We're joined by David Smith. He's the 50th GED graduate of the education program at Grace Centers of Hope, located in Pontiac, Michigan. More information on their website, gracecentersofhope.org. That is gracecentersofhope.org. And so you're part of the one-year life skills program through Grace Centers of Hope. Can you tell us about that program and how that also helped you to refocus your life and stay on that good path forward that you had found?
Well, it's a one-year program, and it gives you sober time. You know, you get up, you go to work, you go to classes, you learn about the Bible. It gives you kind of structure, and you know, I've always been a worker. You know, I've always been able to maintain a job, but the biggest thing has been the sober time. You know, it's I don't know how else to explain it. Just the structure they provide, and definitely the digital detox. Not having a phone, that was a huge help. I thought I really enjoyed not having my phone. It's a great program. You know, every program has its ups and downs, but I have to tell you that it saved my life, man. There's no doubt about it.
We're joined by David Smith, the 50th GED graduate of the education program at Grace Centers of Hope. Learn more information again on the website, gracecentersofhope.org. That is gracecentersofhope.org. And so you mentioned earlier that you do have a family, and that those close to you in your life had actually been through Grace Centers of Hope programs in the past as well, and that kind of helped to lead you to Grace Centers of Hope. So for your family, witnessing your journey over this past year as well, what impact has this had on them as well as on yourself?
Well, for my kids, they're going to have a father who is committed to being there for them. I lost my father when I was 17, and it was terrible. And being there for them is one of my biggest motivators. I want to be there to help bring them up the best way that I can. And if it wasn't for them, I may not have found my way. I can't say that for sure, but I wouldn't have survived last winter. I would not be sitting here talking to you. And I want my kids to have a dad.
Again, we're joined by David Smith, the 50th GED graduate from the education program at Grace Centers of Hope, located in Pontiac, Michigan, down in Oakland County. So now you are in another role as well, a year later, overseeing Grace Centers of Hope's book and music store as part of their Grace Centers thrift store in Sterling Heights. Can you tell us about your work there and how that's also helped to provide some sort of stability and something to focus on in your life as well?
Well, it's given me a job that I truly enjoy. I'm surrounded by knowledge all day. It's awesome. I get to go through books, organize them, and sell them, as well as I come across a lot of cool things. I get to pick through the donations and pick what I think is unique and interesting and kind of collectibles or vintage stuff I look for, and it's really fun. I've never had a job that I thought was fun before, and it's helped me stay focused. And like I said, I'm surrounded by books all day, and I'm a reader, so it just kind of went together pretty good.
David, we thank you so much for joining us, for telling us your story, for being vulnerable with your story. I know for many it can be very tough to look back and to discuss what you've been through. So we appreciate you taking the time and giving us the energy to tell us your story, and maybe that will help inspire somebody else. Is there anything else before we let you go you'd like to say about your experiences over the past year with Grace Centers of Hope and this education program, and your path to becoming recovering from drug and alcohol abuse and addiction?
Well, I'd just like to say to people out there, if they're struggling, Grace Centers of Hope is a great program. They'll teach you something, and you might be surprised at what you find out. So just don't give up and hold on.
David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Again, you can learn more information about the education program and other programs through Grace Centers of Hope by visiting their website, gracecentersofhope.org. That is gracecentersofhope.org. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk to our favorite doctor, Dr. Jamie Tawil from Grand River Medical Associates, about American Heart Month, keeping our heart and our cardiovascular system healthy, as well as everything that we need to know, keeping up to date on all things COVID-19. That's coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Michigan Megacast.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
Joining us now is Dr. Jamie Tawil. He is an internal medicine specialist at Grand River Medical Associates. With us once again on the Megacast. Dr. Tawil, thank you for being back with us.
How you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm getting there. It's been an interesting couple of months, but we're doing all right.
It has been. It seems like now, with case numbers starting to trend back downward, that it seems that we are on the back end of that major surge we had with the Omicron variant and kind of that mixture of the Omicron variant and the Delta variant here in the state of Michigan. So at your practice and in the local medical community around you in southeastern Michigan, where are we in terms of addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, and more importantly, the stress that the pandemic during this most recent surge and all these surges we've had really have put on our medical community?
Well, things are starting to slow down a bit, and thank the Lord. You know, the Christmas, the holiday season, things went through the roof. We had a huge surge. That was out of control. And everyone got it, myself included. Actually, I managed to pick up COVID somehow. And that all happened during the holidays. The majority of the people got it during the Christmas, New Year's time and a little bit thereafter, but it looks like it's now trending down. So I think a lot of the strain that's happening to the healthcare systems in the area are starting to ease up a little bit. I was reading a statistic today where typically COVID cases were taking up to 23% of hospital beds. Is now down to about 12%. Don't quote me on those numbers. It was something I just was reading a little bit earlier today, but it looks like it's starting to trend down. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're definitely making improvements.
And so and on that note, too, one of the ways that we are able to make some of those improvements, or at least relieve some of that stress that's put on our hospital systems, on our medical community in the times of these surges, and even outside of those surges, is through vaccination and through the booster shots. Dr. Fauci recently said, as did other medical experts, they stated that it seems the effects of the COVID-19 booster shots that are available, they start to wane after about 4 months. Would you imagine that? Have you been hearing that at all? And if so, if you're hearing something similar to that, would you imagine that the COVID-19 booster shots, and we've heard so many times that this may just become something similar to your annual flu shot, would in this case maybe be something that's more often needed than the flu shot until we get to a point where maybe there is that booster once a year and these variants aren't spreading so quickly?
I don't know 100% about that, but I do feel that the booster shots are going to be a little bit waning. I think that again, the amount of people that I've found that have been getting COVID has gone up significantly as of late, specifically again over the holidays, and a lot of those people had been vaccinated. So I do feel that the booster shot might be wearing down a little bit, and I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be something that we're going to have to get recurrent. We're going to have to keeping up against any variants that come up. It can be a little bit frustrating to keep receiving booster shots, but I feel like it will be an annual thing. That's, again, my words, not anyone else's. It's just my thoughts. But it seems as if that's the case. However, I do feel that people that have been vaccinated and boosted are getting much, much less severe cases of COVID. I mean, a lot of the people that have gotten COVID that have been vaccinated and boosted have had very mild cases, mild upper respiratory symptoms, fatigue, loss of sense of smell, but otherwise have been doing pretty okay for the most part. We're also seeing significant amounts of people that are trying to get the treatments like the monoclonal antibody treatments and things like that at the local hospitals as well. And some hospitals are allowing it and some hospitals aren't, but it seems to be improving people along the way.
We're joined by Dr. Jamie Tawil, internal medicine specialist at Grand River Medical Associates, with us on the Megacast. Dr. Tawil, another issue we've heard a lot about throughout the pandemic, especially as things have started to open back up, is that continued reluctance that some may have been having to go see their doctor, to get those annual checkups, to go in for those ailments and those aches that they may need to get checked by their doctor or by a specialist. Have we seen that sort of issue wane a little bit in recent months as things have continued to open back up, and especially now as we're starting to see a dip in coronavirus cases as we're coming out of this most recent surge with the Omicron variant?
So I have seen, when COVID first hit, people were avoiding all types of preventative care. People weren't getting their colonoscopies. A lot of that was due to hospitals closing down their elective surgeries. People weren't getting mammograms. People were afraid to get imaging because they didn't want to go to those hospitals because of the overwhelming burden that was on them from the variant wave. I'm now starting to see people starting to open up a lot more. So we are getting a lot more preventative cases back in. This is starting to become more annual physicals and not so much head colds and COVID. So it is picking up a little bit. There are people that are still trying to avoid it. There are people that have a lot of significant comorbidities, people that are high risk that are still avoiding going out there. And I can understand that, respect that. Excuse me. We are still doing there's still a lot of physicians that are doing virtual appointments to try and keep things along, but it doesn't replace, getting labs, getting a stethoscope on you, having a doctor examine you, making sure that everything's okay. Hopefully I'm answering that question for you.
Yeah, and among those checks that you're getting when you're going to your doctor are, of course, respiratory checks and some basic cardiac checks as well. This is American Heart Month, and so we're trying to keep our hearts as healthy as possible. It's raising awareness for that, and of course, stress, a big factor in cardiac health, and we've had a number of different additional stressors in addition to all those normal things come into play over the last couple of years. Have you noticed an increase in patients with some heart ailments as a result of some of those stresses or compounding stressors and factors during the pandemic, or more recently because of either inactivity or added stresses or other factors in the last couple of years?
So yeah, I have noticed a lot of, let me say that just for, again, anecdotally here, what I am seeing a lot more of is patients that are having a lot more chest pain. People have gained a lot of weight during COVID, I'm no exception, and they've been a lot less active. People are working from home and it has changed a lot of their lifestyles. So I am seeing patients that are having a little bit more significant symptoms of chest pain, either it be from them being sedentary versus otherwise, but there's also been some increases in cardiac things, but I also think that's because people are starting to come back out of the woodwork and going to the doctors. We are catching some things ahead of time. We are also seeing a lot, I'm still seeing a lot of patients that are coming in after their hospitalization for an unfortunate heart attack. So it's picking up a little bit. And I think it's also because we're now looking at it a little bit more. We're now able to accept the bandwidth of being able to see patients for other things other than just COVID. I know the cardiologists that I work with are busier than they have ever been. So it's just been, I think, a lot of catch up, so to speak.
And so we hear a lot about different risk factors that can increase your chances of heart disease or of cardiac issues. Things like living a sedentary lifestyle, like a high cholesterol or high salt diet are among some of those things that can lead to cardiac issues. But what are some more uncommon things that or activities or factors that people may not be considering that can often lead to heart-related issues?
Absolutely. So the things that you want to be really, really aware of is family history. If you have a family history of heart disease, you got to be on the lookout, because that can always be an issue for you. If you have high cholesterol, if you have high blood pressure, diabetic is a big, huge risk factor. So if you're a diabetic and you're not having good control of your blood sugars, that can be a significant problem for you. So you really want to try and keep your sugars under control. You want to make sure that your diet is going to be low in cholesterol, get your cholesterol checked, all that fun stuff. Another huge one is smoking. And bear in mind, smoking is, the carcinogens in the tobacco is always going to cause lung damage as well as heart issues, but the nicotine is what's also causing heart issues as well. So people that have switched from cigarettes to vape pens, for example, or vaping devices, there's still nicotine in that, which can increase your risk for heart disease. So, people that often feel like, hey, I'm moving towards a more safer alternative for cigarettes. While you are moving in a good direction, there's still a lot of things out there that is really bad about those things, and they can sometimes even be worse in certain cases. But let's not reduce the fact that it can also continue your risk for heart disease as well. So please, if you can, if you're a patient and you have a family history or you're smoking, diabetic, high blood pressure, try to get those under control as best as possible, or else, that's going to come for you, unfortunately. We got to try and reduce that risk as much as possible.
And we've also heard a lot over the course of the pandemic about people maybe increasing their alcohol intake as well, from being maybe casual, a few drinks per week pre-pandemic, to when they were home more often during the pandemic. They didn't have as much to do. They were on their own time, having their own fun, and maybe indulging a little bit with alcohol. How does alcohol consumption and that lack of moderation or change in what they consider moderation affect heart health?
A lot of ways. First and foremost, let's not forget the fact that alcohol has a significant amount of calories, so weight gain is going to be a big factor. Alcohol consumed in excess will also cause your blood pressure to rise significantly, and that is going to cause a significant amount of stress to your heart. Patients that drink quite frequently will also find themselves putting themselves at higher risk for atrial fibrillation, which is an arrhythmia of the heart, which can cause further heart problems down the line. Increases your risk for sleep apnea, which can cause stress on the heart. It can also just a plethora of risk factors. And I am seeing a rise in alcohol consumption due to people being at home more often, due to people having increased anxiety over this entire pandemic and being at home. Being at home full time and working from home is stressful. You're not away from your office. Your office is at your house, and it's difficult to relax. The stress of family can sometimes just compound it, because sometimes family plus work do not mix well. It can be a lot. So trying to reduce alcohol consumption is going to be a big thing, because it can definitely impact your heart in multiple ways.
So if people that may be considering themselves to be, generally speaking, healthy, or may not feel like they have cardiac issues or having heart problems, but may have some risk factors, what should they be looking out for in terms of symptoms, in terms of feelings that they may experience that may be either symptomatic or at least maybe just be basic indicators that a problem could be oncoming, or that they are currently experiencing some cardiac issues?
Absolutely. Well, it can be different for everybody, but the common I'm having heart problems is going to be, chest pressure, sometimes can go up the neck or down the left arm, can sometimes have shortness of breath, nausea, sweating. Those are big indicators. Those are, I need to go to the ER immediately. However, subtle signs of heart disease include difficulty breathing, or I'm feeling significantly fatigued when I'm doing things that normally were not a big issue. We get a lot of patients that are, they sit around for a long period of time. They've been sitting home because of the pandemic. It snows. They go outside and they start shoveling. They suddenly exert themselves to a significant amount, and they can really cause problems. We see a lot of heart attacks from that, as well as people that are like hunters that are in the woods, drinking booze and just minding their own business, and then they shoot a deer. Now they have to drag 100 pounds across the forest in the middle of winter. It can sometimes cause some heart issues as well. Things that you're going to want to look for before those big events are going to be anything that's sudden or different. So I get a lot of patients that come in and go, yeah, I'm a little short of breath, but I think it might just be due to age. But if they weren't short of breath a few months ago and suddenly it's starting to become a big deal, like going up the stairs, I'm feeling really tired and fatigued and I'm getting a little sweaty, palpitations, lightheadedness, dizziness, headaches, things like that. Those are all subtle signs that you could be having some heart issues, and you should get that looked at.
We're joined by Dr. Jamie Tawil, internal medicine specialist at Grand River Medical Associates, joining us on the Megacast. And Dr. Tawil, over the past weekend, a Detroit radio, longtime Detroit radio broadcaster, Frank Beckman, passed away, and he had died of what was termed vascular dementia. Can you tell us, what is vascular dementia, and then tell us what can cause that condition in somebody?
Certainly, and it's sorry to hear about that. My heart goes out to his family. The vascular dementia is a subset of dementia. Dementia has multiple causes, the number one cause being Alzheimer's dementia, but there's a subset called vascular dementia, which is dementia caused by any type of issues with regards to blood flow of the brain. So anyone that has a stroke with mental status changes beyond that will have issues that can be considered vascular dementia. People that have really bad coronary disease or really bad vascular disease, so they're not getting blood flow to particular areas of their brain, that can cause vascular dementia. People that have heart disease that aren't getting enough blood flow to their brain, people that are having multiple emboli that are really small, they're like very small infarcts, very small occlusions in their brain that are not going to be noticeable by a stroke is pretty obvious, but multiple tiny little strokes like that kind of present themselves as dementia. The difference is based on diagnostics is going to be imaging. So when you do an imaging of the brain, you'll see that there are areas of the brain that aren't getting blood supply, and there's inflammatory issues that are going to suggest that they have vascular dementia. So it's just dementia caused by other factors other than Alzheimer's. And you can even have a mixed picture that can make things a little bit worse.
Dr. Tawil, any other medical issues that we're seeing becoming more common across the board, or things that our community should be aware of going forward?
Just the usual stuff. You want to make sure that you are staying up to date on all preventative testing, colonoscopies, mammograms, getting your heart checked, getting your diet corrected, make sure your diabetes is controlled. We're still in this pandemic, but we are getting better. So I'm very pleased to see that this is improving, and the cases that I'm seeing are much more mild. This has been a godsend. So hopefully this continues in the right direction. I think we're going to continue to do well and get past this and hopefully get back to normal lives.
Dr. Tawil, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, as always.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate. So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. when you don't know where to turn. Let 211 be your guiding light.
211, how can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Joining us now from the Michigan Science Center is Paulette Epstein, their planetarium director and astronomer, joining us on the Megacast to talk about all things volcanoes. Paulette, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're in, of course, a virtual set for those at home. That's not an actual volcano behind you, but you'll be able to see plenty of real volcanoes and that footage of it in action, and learn more about volcanoes at the Michigan Science Center very soon. They're showing The Fires of Creation, an IMAX movie that'll start airing later on this week, this Saturday, February 19th. Tell us a little bit about that film and some of the other interesting activities that are there at the Michigan Science Center about volcanoes.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, we're going to be starting to play Volcanoes, Fires of Creation very soon here at the Michigan Science Center. So it'll begin on Saturday in our 4D theater, our Toyota Engineering 4D theater. And the film is all about volcanoes and gives us a really close-up look of some of the most amazing and deadly things on the planet. So the really cool thing about it being in our 4D theater is you actually feel like you are up close and personal with those volcanoes. So our 4D theater is the one that pokes you in the back, sprays you in the face. We have non-pyrotechnic sparks in that theater. And so when you are watching the movie, you really feel like you are a part of it, and the whole room is rumbling during some of those volcanoes, and it is a truly amazing film. Very beautiful and stunning, and really feeling like you're part of the action.
Yeah, so let's take a step back. Everyone seems to know what a volcano is, or at least the basic functions of an active volcano, at least. But for those that aren't sure, how do volcanoes form, and what function do they serve geologically?
Yeah, absolutely. So volcanoes usually form on the faults between plates in our sort of geologic world. So you have the Earth, and the Earth is made up of these different plates, and those plates are sort of moving around. So you may know that the Earth didn't always look like it does right now. A long time ago, it actually had a single continent, and we call that Pangaea, the supercontinent. And these plates have sort of been moving around and adjusting because they're basically just floating on a layer of sort of magma. So they move around and adjust, and sometimes they'll adjust in such a way that it allows some of that magma to come up to the surface as lava. So that's actually where a volcano is forming. The volcanoes that we see most often are usually in the Ring of Fire, which is all around the Pacific Ocean. We have active volcanoes in Hawaii, here in the United States. There is a dormant supervolcano in Yellowstone. So that one, there is some volcanic activity, but it's not actually lava coming up to the surface. And we have volcanoes all through that Pacific Ocean as well. There was one that went off just a couple of weeks ago, and took out travel in the Pacific Ocean. So volcanoes are happening all around us, and it's really just because those plates are sort of moving around, and there's gaps that can be created so that magma can come up and come out the surface as lava. Really cool. Really dangerous.
We're joined by Paulette Epstein, who is an astronomer and planetarium director over at the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the Megacast. Their showing of the film The Fires of Creation, which is an IMAX movie at the Michigan Science Center, begins airing Saturday, February 19th, over there at the Michigan Science Center. You can learn more information on the Michigan Science Center's website at mi-sci.org. That is Michigan Science Center's website, mi-sci.org. And so, Paula, talking about volcanoes, you mentioned that one just recently went off in the Pacific off the islands of Fiji and Tonga. But we have a lot of volcanoes all around the world. You mentioned even the supervolcano that's located right here in the U.S. At Yellowstone National Park. So what causes a volcano to go dormant? You kind of mentioned what causes it to go active. What causes it to go dormant, and why for so long do we often see these volcanoes have next to no activity?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, the volcanoes in Hawaii, the hole is actually moving around, and that's how the islands of Hawaii were actually created, because it was here for a long time, and then the tectonic plate moved a little bit, and the next island was formed by this magma coming up, and then the next island. It's because of the movement of these tectonic plates. Sometimes there's no movement at all, or these holes sort of fill themselves in, so we don't have a lot of volcanic activity. For example, here in the Midwest, there actually was a lot of volcanic activity a long time ago, but now we don't have any volcanic activity because that rift has actually sort of filled itself in and become dormant. So even though we were able to we had volcanic activity about 2 billion years ago or so, we don't have any volcanic activity here in the Midwest now.
And so, Paula, you mentioned some of those volcanoes in the Midwest. There actually were some right here in the state of Michigan in the Upper Peninsula. Where were some of those located? And you mentioned now because those rifts in the earth were then filled in, they're dormant. Are those volcanoes still in existence and able to be seen despite being dormant?
Yeah, absolutely. So the volcanoes in the Upper Peninsula actually helped to form Lake Superior and the area around there. Because of the volcanoes that we have in the Upper Peninsula here in Michigan, we actually have a lot of copper and a lot of heavier metals. Those were actually formed by that volcanic activity. And you can see a lot of those volcanic rocks, specifically when you take a look at sort of the edge of the the edge of and the cliffs down into Lake Superior, you're able to see some volcanic rock. Some of it is normal rock that we would normally expect in that area, but some of it is also volcanic rock. And it's very interesting to sort of take a look at that area because we didn't know it was volcanically active until relatively recently.
We're joined by Paulette Epstein, the astronomer and planetarium director over at the Michigan Science Center. More information on their website, mi-sci.org or mi-sci.org to learn more about all the activities over there at the Michigan Science Center. And so the last major volcano that erupted here in the U.S. was Mount St. Helens, but there are plenty of other volcanoes that are located in the U.S., including that supervolcano you mentioned at Yellowstone National Park. That timeline on when these volcanoes go into a period of activity versus a period of dormancy, it varies location to location. It all really depends on the movement of the tectonic plates in the Earth. Are there any volcanoes in the U.S. off the top of your head that at this time may be close to that point in the estimation where they may be active again soon?
Well, so it's funny that you say that because the supervolcano at Yellowstone is actually at that point. We think that it could potentially start to be more active relatively soon. And when I say relatively soon, we are talking about in the history of the Earth, so it could happen in the next million years or so. But that is relatively soon in our timeline. It could be tomorrow, it could be in a million years, we don't know. But Yellowstone has actually become a little more volcanically, like we can tell that there's a little bit more activity happening in Yellowstone and that it's sort of coming out of that dormancy. And so we've definitely been keeping an eye on that one because it is a huge, huge volcano. And if it erupts, it will not only affect us here in the United States, it won't just affect people in the Western United States, it'll affect us here in Michigan, and it will also affect the entire world because that volcano is so big.
And so, Paulette, how do you go about predicting when volcanoes may be active again or when that activity may come to a point of eruption? How do experts that are tracking this information ultimately predict when, or forecast even, when these eruptions could happen or that activity could come back?
Yeah, absolutely. So they track it in a couple of different ways. They track it by feeling the seismic activity around the area. So the more seismic activity, the more active the volcano is going to become. They also can track it using just signs and things. So for example, I said that the supervolcano in Yellowstone is becoming slightly more active. And so what we're seeing is we're actually seeing more geysers, we're seeing more heat, we're seeing things that point us to the direction that it could potentially become more active in the near future. So that seismic activity or the vibrations of the Earth are really what pushes us to be able to get a better idea of when these volcanoes are going to become more active, but also just watching them and noticing even slight changes that are happening. Another thing that actually happens is animals can sense it before humans do. So a lot of times, like, animals will clear the area around a volcano before it erupts so that they are safer. And so following animals and how they move, their migration patterns, all of that can also give us clues as to when volcanoes are becoming more active and when they could potentially erupt.
We're joined by Paulette Epstein, planetarium director and astronomer over at the Michigan Science Center. Their showing of Fires of Creation opens February 19th in its Toyota Engineering four-dimensional theater. The Michigan Science Center will have more information on that online on the website, mi-sci.org. That's mi-sci.org to learn more information. Paulette, how long will this film be showing over at the Michigan Science Center?
We do plan to show this film through the end of this year. So it'll start, like I said, this weekend. Saturday and Sunday is our opening weekend for this movie. And we do plan to show it through the end of the year in our Toyota Engineering 4D theater.
learn more information about Fires of Creation when you can see this film, this IMAX film, in their 4-dimensional theater of the Michigan Science Center by visiting mi-sci.org. Paulette, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more about our show by visiting our website, civiccentertv.com, and clicking on Megacast, or typing in civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll learn all that you need to know about the program, including everywhere we broadcast live and live to tape, and find us on demand, full episodes, and each individual interview, depending on what kind of time you have. If you want to join us for our entire show but can't join us live, or miss part of our show, or only certain interviews are of interest to you, you can always join us on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. And join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. to 12 noon live. We'll have Jeff Decker from the Media Network of Waterford in studio with me, hosting the Oakland County Hour of the Megacast from 10 to 11 o'clock. Big thank you to everyone that joined us on the show today. Ralph Tompkins from Swag Kids Gym, we had also Aaron Asdell and Allison Swanson from Hello Waterford over at the Media Network of Waterford. David Smith from Grace Centers of Hope's education program, their 50th GED recipient. Dr. Jamie Tawil, as well as Paulette Epstein from the Michigan Science Center. Big thank you as well to our crew. Calvin Brown, our technical director, with me in the studio every day, live from 10 to 12 noon, hitting all the buttons, keeping us on the air and keeping things moving over here as well. Our Zoom producer over at the office of My Michigan TV, Jared Clark, helping all of our guests get onto the program every single day. The king of television, Larry Nyland, our producer, getting everybody booked on the show and helping us get ready for each and every episode of the Megacast, both the Oakland County and the Michigan Megacast, and of course Maddie Mushkin out of Master Control, helping us both on and off the air. Again, you can learn more about the Megacast by visiting us at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link, and also encourage you to click on our coronavirus link to learn more information and stay up to date on everything you need to know on COVID-19. On My Michigan TV, Steve Leto Live is next, and we'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.